Silent watchers. The vastness of space had always made humans feel small. For centuries, Earth's inhabitants gazed up at the stars, wondering if they were alone. When they finally discovered they weren't, the revelation came with a harsh truth. In the grand hierarchy of the cosmos, humanity barely registered as a footnote. The galaxy teemed with civilizations far more advanced than Earth's. Species that had mastered faster than light travel millennia ago, built Dyson spheres around their suns, and colonized hundreds of worlds looked upon humans as primitive curiosities. Interesting perhaps for academic study, but hardly worth diplomatic consideration. Among these advanced civilizations, the Valari Collective stood as one of the most powerful. A coalition of 7 highly evolved species, they controlled nearly a third of the Milky Way. Their technology was so advanced that it seemed like magic to human observers. Their massive worldships could consume asteroids for fuel. Their warriors wore exoskeletons that made them virtually indestructible in combat. Commander Zarin of the Valari observed the holographic projection of Earth's solar system floating in the command center of his flagship, the Eternal Vigilance. His 4 eyes narrowed as he focused on the blue-green planet third from its unremarkable yellow star. Such an insignificant world, he remarked to his second-in-command, Officer Nix. And yet their transmissions grow more numerous each cycle. They've even established that pitiful outpost on their red neighbor. Nix's scaled skin rippled in the Valari equivalent of a shrug. Many species go through this phase, Commander. They venture out, believing themselves prepared for the vastness of space. Then they encounter their first true challenge and retreat to their homeworld for another 100 cycles. Perhaps, Zarin said, his voice a deep rumble. But something about these humans troubles me. They adapt too quickly. They solve problems with unexpected methods. You cannot possibly consider them a threat, Nix replied with a dismissive wave of her upper limbs. Not yet. But potential must be evaluated early, Zarin said. He gestured with one of his 4 arms, and a hologram zoomed in on Mars, where humans had established their first extraterrestrial colony. I think it's time we tested them. Send the Vanguard fleet to their Mars outpost. A small-scale operation, nothing that would attract attention from the Galactic Council. Just enough to gauge their response. On Earth, Captain Ilara Chen stepped into the underground command center of Project Prometheus, humanity's most closely guarded secret. 2 kilometers beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean, the facility represented the pinnacle of human engineering and ingenuity. Status report, she demanded as she approached the central holographic display. All systems nominal, Captain. Lieutenant Marcus Rivero replied. The fleet remains undetected. Production facilities on Luna and in the asteroid belt continue to exceed targets. Chen nodded, her expression grim. For 15 years, Earth had been preparing in secret. The first contact with alien life had come 20 years ago, a seemingly benevolent encounter with a passing Centaurian research vessel. The exchange of information had been limited but eye-opening. Earth learned it was a very small fish in an extremely large and predatory pond. Rather than announcing this revelation to the public, world governments had made an unprecedented decision. They would unite in secret, pooling resources and knowledge to prepare for the day when Earth would need to defend itself. Project Prometheus was born, a massive undertaking to build a fleet capable of protecting humanity, all while presenting a facade of primitive technology to any watching eyes. And the Valari? Chen asked. Still observing from the edge of the system, Rivera responded. Their presence increased 3 days ago. We now count 17 vessels beyond Neptune's orbit. Chen's eyes narrowed. They're getting bolder. What about our Mars outpost? No unusual activity, but Rivera was interrupted by a sudden blaring alarm. The holographic display flashed red, zooming in on Mars. Multiple contacts, the sensor officer shouted. Large vessels entering orbit around Mars. They match Valari signatures. Alert status 1. Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the surge of adrenaline. Commence Operation Lighthouse. On Mars, The small human settlement of New Armstrong received no warning before the attack began. The colony, home to just over 3,000 scientists and engineers, had been established as humanity's first step toward the stars. Officially, it housed research facilities and preliminary terraforming equipment. Unofficially, it was also a forward observation post for Project Prometheus. The Valari ships emerged from light speed with perfect precision, immediately surrounding the red planet. They were sleek, predatory vessels that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light, creating the impression of moving shadows against the Martian sky. Commander Zarin watched from the eternal vigilance as his vanguard fleet moved into position. "Begin the test," he ordered. "Target their communication arrays first. I want to see how they respond when isolated." The Valari weapons discharge, brilliant lances of energy that struck the Mars colony with surgical precision. Communication towers melted into slag. Power plants shut down as their systems were overloaded. Defense shields, pathetically weak by Valari standards, collapsed within seconds. Primitive technology, Nix observed. As expected. But Zarin remained silent, watching intently. On Earth, the attack played out in real time on the command center's displays. For a moment, dead silence reigned as the Project Prometheus staff witnessed what they had spent 15 years preparing to prevent. "Mars colony reports 73 casualties," Rivera said softly. "Life support systems are failing in sectors 3 through 7. Chen's knuckles whitened as she gripped the edge of the command console. "Initiate emergency evacuation protocols for the colony," she ordered. "And get me the Security Council. It's time." Within 30 minutes, the leaders of Earth's unified defense coalition appeared on screens surrounding the command center. Presidents, prime ministers, and chairpersons, all looking to Chen with the same question in their eyes. "The Valari have attacked Mars colony without provocation," Chen reported. "We have casualties. This is not a drill or a misunderstanding. This is an act of war." The President of the United States nodded gravely. "You have authorization, Captain Chen. Implement Prometheus Protocol." One by one, the other leaders gave their assent. Chen turned back to her command staff. "Send the signal." Throughout the solar system, hidden installations came to life. Deep within the moon, massive hangar doors began to open. In the asteroid belt, shipyards concealed inside hollowed-out planetoids activated their launch sequences. Beneath Earth's oceans, in underground facilities, and in stealth orbital platforms, humanity's secret fleet prepared for war. The ships themselves were marvels of human engineering enhanced by reverse-engineered alien technology. They were smaller than the massive Valari vessels, but packed with innovations that the aliens had never encountered. Quantum-entangled communication systems that couldn't be jammed. Fusion drives augmented by gravity manipulation. Adaptive armor that learned from enemy attacks. And there were thousands of them. In Martian orbit, Commander Zarin was growing disappointed. The human response had been pitiful. A few desperate distress calls, followed by silence. Their orbital defense satellites had been destroyed without firing a single effective shot. "This test is hardly worth our time," Nix commented. "Their technology is at least 3 centuries behind the galactic standard." "Perhaps," Zarin agreed reluctantly. "Order the ground forces tow." "Commander," the sensor officer interrupted, voice tight with sudden urgency. Multiple signatures detected emerging from Earth's moon. Zarin turned sharply. "What? Show me." The holographic display shifted, revealing something impossible. Hundreds, no, thousands, of warships were emerging from hidden bases on Luna's far side. Their designs were unlike anything in Valari records, sleek and predatory in a distinctly different way than Valari vessels. "That's not possible," Nix whispered. "Our intelligence indicated no such capabilities." More alerts sounded as additional signatures appeared throughout the system. From Earth's oceans, from asteroid bases, from concealed orbital platforms, warships were appearing everywhere, converging with precision that spoke of long preparation and extensive training. On the bridge of the lead Earth vessel, the ESS Reckoning, Captain Chen settled into the command chair. The bridge hummed with controlled urgency as officers monitored systems and prepared for combat. "All Prometheus ships report ready, Captain," Rivera announced from his station. 700,000 vessels awaiting your command." Chen activated the ship-wide communication system. "This is Captain Chen to all Earth forces. For 15 years, we have prepared in secret, knowing this day might come. We have trained while presenting a face of weakness to the galaxy. We have built our strength while appearing vulnerable. Today, we show the Valari, and any who would threaten humanity, what we are truly capable of." She paused, looking at the tactical display showing the Valari ships still in position around Mars. "They came to test us," she continued, her voice hard. "To measure our resolve, to determine if we were worth conquering or could be casually destroyed. They attacked our people, believing us weak and unprepared." Her eyes narrowed. They were wrong. Chen leaned forward in her chair, her next words resonating through every ship in humanity's hidden armada. "All ships, Battle Formation Alpha. Target the Valari fleet. Show no mercy." Commander Zarin watched in disbelief as the human warships accelerated toward Mars. His strategic mind was already calculating the implications, the resources required to build such a fleet, the technology necessary to hide it from Valari sensors, the coordination needed to deploy it so quickly. How? He demanded of no one in particular. How did they conceal this from us? The answer came in the form of the first human attack. A barrage of weapons fire unlike anything the Valari had encountered before slammed into the Vanguard fleet's outer perimeter. 3 Valari cruisers erupted in silent explosions, their advanced shields bypassed as if they weren't even there. As the human fleet closed in on Mars, their overwhelming numbers becoming clear for the first time, Zarin realized the terrible mistake the collective had made. They had dismissed humanity as weak, as primitive, as insignificant. The humans had let them believe it. And now, 700,000 warships were coming to deliver humanity's response. The reckoning. Commander Zarin had never experienced defeat. In 3 centuries of military service to the Valari collective, he had always emerged victorious. The species he encountered were either diplomatically incorporated into the collective or militarily subjugated. There had never been a third option. Until now. "All ships, evasive maneuvers." He roared as another wave of human vessels swarmed toward his dwindling fleet. "Concentrate shields on their primary attack vectors." But the humans weren't attacking as expected. Their smaller, more agile ships darted between Valari vessels, striking with weapons that seemed to phase through Valari defenses. It was as if the humans had spent years studying Valari technology, finding its weaknesses and designing countermeasures specifically to exploit them. Officer Nix approached Zarin, her typically composed demeanor shattered. "Commander, we've lost 40% of the Vanguard fleet. The rest are reporting critical systems failures across all vessels. These humans, they are targeting our shield generators with some kind of quantum-phased weapons. Our armor is being systematically disabled by what appears to be nanite clusters. They know our weaknesses." Zarin stared at the tactical display, watching as his once mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by a species he had dismissed as barely spacefaring. "How?" he whispered. "How could they have prepared so thoroughly without our knowledge?" The answer hit him with sudden clarity. They knew we were watching. All this time, they knew. On the bridge of the ESS Reckoning, Captain Chen directed the battle with calculated precision. The wall-sized tactical display showed the Earth fleet encircling the remaining Valari ships, cutting off their retreat paths one by one. "3rd Division, close the gap near Phobos," she ordered. "Don't let any of their ships break formation. 5th Division, prepare to deploy EMP crystals once the circle is complete." Lieutenant Rivera approached her command chair, tablet in hand. "Captain, Mars Colony reports that emergency systems are holding. Casualties are stable at 73. Medical ships will reach them within the hour." Chen nodded, her face grim. 73 too many, Lieutenant. Make sure the Valeri understand the cost of their arrogance. The fleet moved with practiced efficiency, each ship seeming to anticipate the commands before they were given. 15 years of secret drills and simulations had prepared them for this moment. Earth's ships were not as large or as heavily armored as the Valeri vessels, but they compensated with speed, numbers, and innovations born of humanity's unique perspective. Most importantly, they carried weapons specifically designed to counter Valeri technology. The result of years studying the few alien artifacts Earth had managed to obtain and analyzing the transmissions of Valeri ships observing the solar system. "Captain, the Valeri flagship is hailing us," the communications officer announced. Chen's eyebrows raised slightly. "Put it through." Commander Zarin's alien face appeared on the main view screen. The Valeri commander's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of stress that human intelligence had previously identified. "This is Commander Zarin of the Valeri Collective," he began, his voice translated by Earth's computers. "You have demonstrated unexpected capabilities. The Collective recognizes your strength and offers cessation of hostilities." Chen's expression remained cold. "Commander Zarin, this is Captain Ilara Chen of Earth Defense Force. You attacked our Mars colony without provocation. You killed 73 civilians. There will be no cessation until justice is served." Zarin's upper limbs moved in what intelligence indicated was a placating gesture. The attack was merely a test, a standard procedure for evaluating developing species. We did not anticipate significant casualties. "A test," Chen repeated, her voice dangerously quiet. "You call the unprovoked murder of our people a test." "The Collective must assess potential threats," Zarin replied. "It was not personal, merely protocol." "It was personal to the families of those 73 dead," Chen interrupted. "And your test has provided us with valuable data as well. We now know exactly how your ships respond under fire. We've confirmed the vulnerabilities in your shield harmonics, and we've demonstrated that your assumption of superiority was gravely mistaken." She leaned forward in her chair. "Now let me be clear about Earth's protocol, Commander. Any aggression against humans or human settlements will be met with overwhelming force. We have shown you only a fraction of our capabilities today." This was a calculated bluff. In truth, Earth had committed nearly all its secret fleet to this battle. But Zarin had no way of knowing that, and the shock evident in his alien features suggested the deception was working. "The Collective will not forget this," Zarin warned. "Good," Chen replied. "That's precisely what we want. Tell your leaders that humanity is not to be underestimated again. Now recall your ground forces from Mars immediately, or we'll destroy what remains of your fleet." The communication ended, and Chen turned to her tactical officer. "Are the EMP crystals in position?" "Yes, Captain. Awaiting your command." Chen nodded. "Stand by. Let's see if the commander is wise enough to retreat." On the Valeri flagship, Zarin was facing a crisis unlike any in collective history. His ship's systems were failing under the relentless human assault. 3 of his 4 engine cores were damaged beyond repair. Shield generators were operating at less than 30% capacity. "Order all ground forces to return to ships immediately," he commanded. "Prepare for emergency light speed jump." Nick stared at him in disbelief. "Commander, we cannot retreat from primitives. The Collective has never." "These are not primitives," Zarin snapped. "Look around you. They prepared for us. They studied us while pretending to be weak. They built a fleet specifically designed to counter our technology." He gestured at the tactical display, showing the overwhelming number of human ships surrounding them. "If we do not retreat now, there will be no one left to warn the Collective about the threat these humans pose." As the Valeri ground forces scrambled back to their ships, the human fleet maintained its encirclement, weapons trained on the alien vessels but holding fire. For now, Captain Chen watched with grim satisfaction as the Valeri troop carriers lifted off from the Martian surface. "Confirm all Valeri forces have withdrawn from the colony," she ordered. "Confirmed, Captain," Rivera replied after a moment. Sensor scans show no Valeri life signs remaining on Mars. Chen nodded. Signal the fleet to allow the Valeri ships to form up. Give them a clear corridor back to the outer system, but keep weapons locked. I want them to feel our targeting systems every second of their retreat. The Earth fleet shifted position, opening a narrow path while maintaining overwhelming firepower directed at the Valeri ships. It was a delicate balance, showing mercy while demonstrating strength. Commander Zarin watched with a mixture of relief and humiliation as his battered fleet limped through the corridor of human warships. The vessels that had seemed so primitive just hours ago now loomed like predators allowing prey to escape, not out of weakness, but from strategic choice. Record everything, he ordered his crew. Every specification of their ships, every tactic they employed. The collective must learn from this defeat. As the Valeri fleet reached the edge of the Mars orbit and prepared for the jump to light speed, Zarin took one last look at the human armada on his view screen. 700,000 ships where there should have been none. A military force that had remained hidden until the moment of maximum impact. We made a grave error in judgment, he said quietly to Nyx. These humans, they think differently than us. They let us believe they were weak. They encouraged our contempt. A strategy no civilized species would consider, Nyx replied, still struggling to accept the defeat. No, Zarin corrected her. A strategy no species we've encountered before would consider. That is precisely what makes them dangerous. He turned to his navigation officer. Take us home. The collective must be warned. As the Valeri ships disappeared into light speed, Captain Chen finally allowed herself to exhale. Around her, the bridge crew maintained their professional composure, but she could feel the undercurrent of elation. Stand down to alert level 2, she ordered. Dispatch medical and repair teams to Mars colony. I want full damage assessment within the hour. Yes, Captain, Rivera acknowledged, then hesitated. Should we pursue the Valeri? Chen shook her head. No. We've made our point. They need to carry the message back to their collective. She stood from her command chair, looking at the tactical display where thousands of human ships now orbited Mars in protective formation. Besides, we need to prepare. Prepare, Captain. This was just the beginning, Lieutenant, Chen said. The Valeri tested us today, but they're just one power among many. Now that we've revealed ourselves, the rest of the galaxy will take notice. Her eyes hardened. Some will seek alliance. Others will see us as a threat to be eliminated before we grow stronger. She turned to face her bridge crew. Either way, humanity's age of hiding in the shadows is over. We've announced our presence to the stars in a language everyone understands. She gestured to the ships surrounding them. Now we need to be ready for the response. In the days that followed, Earth began the process of rebuilding Mars colony. Memorial services were held for the 73 who had died in the Valeri attack. Their names would be remembered as the first casualties in humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. Project Prometheus, hidden for so long, was finally revealed to the public. The shock of learning about the secret fleet was tempered by the knowledge that it had saved Mars colony from complete destruction. Debates raged about the ethics of the deception, but few could argue with the results. Captain Chen stood at the window of her office aboard the orbital defense platform Olympus, watching Earth rotate slowly below. The planet looked peaceful from here, the blue-green jewel that had spawned a species unlike any other in known space. A knock at her door preceded the entrance of Admiral Takahashi, the newly appointed commander of Earth's combined defense forces. The Security Council has reviewed your after-action report, he informed her. They were particularly interested in your assessment of future Valeri actions. Chen turned from the window. The Valeri won't forget what happened at Mars. Admiral, their entire civilization is built on the premise of their technological superiority. We didn't just defeat them, we challenged their worldview. You believe they'll return. Eventually, Chen confirmed, but not before they study us more carefully, not before they prepare specifically for us. The question is whether that gives us enough time. Time for what? Takahashi asked, though his expression suggested he already knew the answer. Time to bring the fight to them, Chen said firmly. We've spent 15 years preparing our defense. Now we need to consider our place in the galaxy more broadly. The Valari Collective controls hundreds of worlds, many of which are subjugated against their will. They're bullies on a galactic scale. She walked to her desk, activating a holographic display of the Milky Way. Sectors controlled by various powers glowed in different colors, with Valari territory marked in red. Humanity has revealed itself as a force to be reckoned with, she continued. We have choices to make about what kind of force we want to be. Admiral Takahashi studied the map thoughtfully. You're suggesting we become liberators. I'm suggesting we become who we've always been at our best, Chen replied. Defenders of freedom. Champions of self-determination. The voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. She zoomed in on a section of the Valari space. Our intelligence indicates at least 17 species currently under Valari control who maintain resistance movements. They need allies. The Council will be reluctant to extend our reach so far from Earth, Takahashi cautioned. Chen's expression was determined. Then I'll need to convince them. The galaxy believed we were weak, Admiral. They thought we could be tested, provoked, even eliminated without consequence. Her hand passed through the hologram, disrupting the neat boundaries between galactic powers. We proved them wrong once. Now we need to show them who humanity really is. As night fell over Earth, its secret was out. No longer would humanity hide its strength or pretend to be less than it was. The species that had been dismissed as insignificant had revealed itself as a power to be reckoned with, and the message had been sent throughout the stars. Underestimate humanity at your peril. In the vast reaches of Valari space, Commander Zarin stood before the Collective Council, his defeat at Mars still fresh and painful. The 7 representatives of the ruling species regarded him with expressions ranging from disbelief to contempt. These humans, the High Counselor said, you believe they pose a genuine threat to the Collective. Zarin straightened his posture, meeting all 28 eyes of the Council members. I believe, Counselors, that we have encountered something unprecedented. The humans let us watch them for years. They showed us exactly what they wanted us to see. They studied our weaknesses while presenting none of their own. He activated a holographic display, showing the Earth fleet in action against his own ships. They think differently than we do. They plan on timescales we dismiss. They unite despite their differences. And now, he gestured to the image of 700,000 warships surrounding Mars. They have announced themselves to the galaxy. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, the High Counselor spoke again. Then we must prepare. The Collective will not make the same mistake twice. But as Zarin left the chamber, he wondered if the Collective truly understood what they were facing. The humans hadn't just defeated his fleet. They had outthought, outprepared, and outmaneuvered an adversary with vastly superior resources and centuries more experience. And that, he suspected, was only the beginning of what humanity was capable of.